I've been trying to do this tidily as I go along, but kind of failing miserably. But I've got, I think, the wires to the ignition unit now sorted out. So these are the wires to the coils. These are the supply to the coils. This is the ignition from the M unit. This goes off to the ignition box. And then there are the 3 wires, one for each coil, that also come from the ignition box. So I've hooked up, I don't have a spark plug handy, but I've hooked up a little bit of wire to the HT lead, and hopefully we're going to get a spark here when I crank it over. I've got the solenoid wired up with a jump lead from the solenoid, so all of this is wired up. Well, you saw the solenoid. So actually there's not very many wires at the minute go into the M unit, but let's see whether I can get any spark. So I can't hold the clutch, and how am I going to hold the clutch in? Okay, so I'll tie up the clutch in so I can do one-handed starts. Kill switch on. So you see the lights on the M unit now, it's just flashing. If I just press the starter once, okay, why isn't that working? Oh, you have to hold the starter. Okay, so he's woken up now. It has woken up now. That's awake. So now, and that's what's it complaining about now? Anyway, press and hold the starter. Should turn over. No. Now it's awake. Okay, now it's awake. Press and hold the starter. Oh, and there's a spark. See, hold on. That is brilliant. Okay, so that works. So I've got sparks. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'll set the camera up properly, but I'm going to change out these coils, put some wires in, and try a coil over plug thing, and see whether I can get a spark out of that. Wow, there's actually, the wiring's, even though it looks a bit of a mess, it's actually quite simple so far. So yeah, I'll get the camera set up properly. I'll find the connectors and everything for the coil over plugs, the COPs, and we'll have a go at that and see if I get a spark with those. Of course, I couldn't wait to do it properly, so I've looked around. These are my coilover plugs, coilovers that I found in that were they're Triumph ones, and I did check the resistance of the coil as being the same as the others, but they only work with certain types of ignition, and I'm not sure if this is the right type. Somewhere in the depths I've got some connectors for them, but of course I can't find them, and I've basically just connected it up with some loose bits of wire, and now the moment of truth to see whether I can actually get a spark. So ignition on. I really ought to look up how to do this properly. Come on, ignition. It's just one press, right? One press. Why isn't that working anymore? Okay, that was weird. It wouldn't turn on. But anyway, I've got it turned on now. It does show the importance. I must have to have an ignition switch as well, because it just wouldn't recognise the Bluetooth for some reason. Anyway, let's see if it's getting any spark. Can you see the spark plug? Yeah. Oh yes! Oh, I'm well pleased with that. Yeah, so now I've got to find the connectors and then figure out how to wire up a fuel pump relay and then see if it starts. Wow. I think it's a common fault on the older, I think this is an older style connector for the fuel pump and the fuel level sense. So these two, this one and this one, this is the earth for the fuel pump and this is the positive. And you can see here this one is loose. So what I'm going to try and do is, first of all, I think this will just pull out. Yes. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is drill through there and try and poke a wire through, and in the meantime I'm going to order some blue Hylamar, which I believe is petrol resistant, and I'm going to use that to seal it up, and then I should be able to get this fuel tank in action. This is a different fuel tank to the one I'm paint preparing. I'm just going to use this for testing. I've measured this bit of cable and it's 2mm, so I'm going to go with a 2mm hole here first. I don't want a giant hole because I'm going to have to seal it up. So the smaller I can keep it, the better. As I said, I don't know how people do one-handed filming, but so I'm going to poke him through here. Hold on. This stuff is allegedly petrol proof, resistant, one or the other. So it just arrived, and I'm going to basically goop some of it on the other side of it, and hopefully there won't be any petrol come dripping out. Well, I'm a little bit worried about the rubber seal in here because it's not very rubbery anymore. But yeah, I'm just going to hopefully get this into a position where you can see it. How does that look? Can you see what I'm up to there? No. See if I can get some semblance of focus. So basically I'm just going to blob Hylamar all around these, well, especially the yellow wire where I drilled the hole. I can't really see what I'm doing, probably any better than you can see what I'm doing, but if I put enough of it around this cable, so I believe this stuff doesn't actually fully harden. There's a goodly amount squidged in there now, so I'm going to leave that to dry and see what happens. So yeah, the question is whether I'm going to put any. I guess it's probably soft enough, so I'm just going to have to hope that bit seals. I'm not going to stress it too much actually, because I'm going to try not to have this stuff under the petrol anyway. As long as the pump's underwater, so to speak, that'll be good enough. So I'm ready. I've got the fuel pump all wired up. I just don't have any. This is harder than hell, this stuff. I've ordered quite a long length of petrol pipe so that I can have this tank away from the bike, run the feed and return line. And yeah, I think it's just about ready to start. I've done a bit more of the wiring, but we'll look at that in a minute. And yeah, so when that pipe comes, I can hook it up and we'll see what happens. So, see you in a short time. I've been waiting desperately for some clamps to arrive from, unfortunately I had to use Amazon, but I run out of clamps to do the last of the fuel lines. They've just arrived, which is lucky because it looks like it's going to rain. I've been tidying up. I've been finishing off the wiring, and I think we're ready to see if it's going to start. I've got a big long length of fuel pipe here, so that I don't have to fit the tank, so the tank can sit on the ground over there. I did test the tank earlier. It's leaking a little bit, but I'm not going to let that worry me for a bit. I haven't closed off the air intake, so that's going to be a little bit leaky, so I'm not expecting it to run well. And all the injectors are wired up, but only 2 of the coils, because I'm missing a connector that didn't arrive yet. So it's only going to run on 2 out of 3, if it's going to run at all. And it's also going to be very loud because the exhaust headers are not, they're kind of just resting in front of in the manifold there. They're not done correctly. But everything else, I think, there's the right bird's nest here. I'll get another camera and show you a bit later on. But yeah, so I'm going to cut this pipe in the middle here. Bit of a waste of pipe, but I'd rather just have the tank out of the way and fit this to the tank. Hopefully with the feed and return in the right places. Got my clips. These pipes are a good fit. Won't come off. Maybe I didn't need the clips after all. There we go. So that's although you can't see, this is the feed going on from the output of the pressure regulator to the fuel rail. I'm just going to give a quick pulse and it should turn the pump on. It does. So I'm going to check for no fuel leaks before I crank it too much. Sounds like it's building up pressure. Doesn't sound very healthy actually, the pump. So in theory it might start. Should we give it a go? Nothing. So well, it's pumping, but that's all I can tell. I can't see if the fuel's actually coming back. I'm sure it will be. it's not. So wires crossed over, maybe. Not wires, you know what I mean. Pipes. Have I got them on the right way? I don't think so. So we've got fuel going round now. Will it start? Nope. There we go, so we're getting fuel now at pressure. And I need to arrange this differently. Okay, try again, huh? Oh. And that's slightly encouraging. I think it's possibly to do with this, with the air thing now. I haven't closed up the top of my fancy plenum. But I'm going to try it one more time. running low on fuel. Maybe. Okay, gonna have to think about it some more.